Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time I got Scythe and Drebber's testimonies, and it's looking like it's Drebber who did the crime. So yeah, let's continue. Finally, he's going to fold. Hold it. Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim, on the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No. Good Lord! Dr. Scythe, do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the bird cage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself was the professor again staring me in the face. Then before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. For someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. Damn. Shouldn't have ended the episode there. Why on earth would you buckle now? Well, there's no point in trying to hide it anymore, is there? Would have done anything to stop it coming out, even collaborated in a murder. But the great lie about the execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Surely it goes without saying. You admit your part in it too, then? No? I admit nothing. At all. What? Have you forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. No! Order. Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He tried to expose my secret, so I went along with this plan. Lord Van Zeeks? Yes. I hope you'll accept my apologies. Whatever happens next is in your hands, of course. I have heard more than enough now. I hereby present the final findings of this court. Huh? This trial is not proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain. Oh, we all forgot. Very true, it had slipped my mind. Isn't he one of your closest friends? As the court has heard, Dr. Scythe has admitted to the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt. Huh? You mean? present time, it is my conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Does the prosecution have any objections? None, my lord.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Naruto. You've proven Professor Hairbrain's innocence.
Without further ado, then, the adjudication. Unless prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss. No? I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. Why did Dr. Sai suddenly admit to it like that?
Is everything alright, Mr. Naruto?
Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. But is that really what we want? We didn't even see a breakdown yet. What the defense should be pushing for now is further testimony.
Objection!
The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. Beg your pardon. We demand one final testimony. What? Yeah. You do realize I'm about to adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume. What are you playing at now, my Nipponese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. I'm not in my right mind.
Mr. Naruto, what exactly are you thinking?
The truth, the whole truth, and a way to bring it all out into the open.
Right.
Yes, in hindsight. Ah yes, one word of warning before I go. In the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth. Don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the better end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes knew. He must have deduced that this would happen. I doubt it. Yes, I'm here in the court to advocate for my client, to secure an acquittal. Obviously. But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court. Pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe.
Testimony from me? About what?
About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Antechamber.
In any case, it's escaped your attention. I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. Stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship has made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination.
Objection!
Pray forgive my careless handling of that hollowed pot. I slipped. That's what you call it? Well, what is your objection, Lord Vazes? Prosecution also calls for supplementary testimony from the witnesses. Don't be stupid. If there's more to this case than has yet come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end.
Oh, what?
Lord Van Zeeks. This is most irregular, to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Scythe, you will testify before the court, explain the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. Trevor.
Aye.
Very well. Man. In this testimony, the Waxwork plot.
It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside his jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be a arranged in certain ways to implicate Defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. So I was right. The stage and the machine were all specifically designed for deception. So it seems, all meticulously prepared. Did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. But this autopsy report then. All I did was record the location of the body as being in the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you.
You must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for a cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. Can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at the expression on Dr. Sai's face. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony.
What is it about you Japanese that makes you all so doggedly persistent?
Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
Cross-examination. The Waxwork plot. No tucked inside.
Hold it!
From what you described before, it sounds like the note was anonymous. Do you have any idea of who was behind it?
There are very few people in the know about what really happened 10 years ago to start with. But anyway, I'd never heard of this engineer. So no, I had no idea.
Despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it?
I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern.
But the horse has bolted now. The stable door will never shut again. Scotland Yard's reputation will be immeasurably damaged as a result of this.
Yes, thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm well aware of that.
So I understand it. What you found in the birdcage was the Waxwork model. Where, then, was the victim's body?
Hold it!
So you knew about the special construction of the stage used to carry out the trick then?
It's quite obvious what happened with the victim and the Waxwork.
You switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recovered the victim's body as having been discovered in the Crystal Tower and the Waxwork?
I wrapped it and sent it by carriage to the specified address at the specified time.
And why were you given such directions? Presumably so it could be recovered by Trevor and returned to Madame Two-Spells. See, and then you put the birdcage back on the experimentation stage.
Yes, although someone obviously made a mistake about which cage should go where. Thought I'd made it perfectly clear to the team, but still.
Suppose you were focused on the victim's body, that being a more important detail.
Hold it!
When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this?
Yes, the instructions in the engineer's note said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that hairpin alone could have killed Desmond.
So you mean that was your doing?
Fetched Hairbrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage. Took it with me, alone, to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen.
Alone, Doctor?
Didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in the particular part of the deception.
Oh.
Very was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest.
Wow. And then you noted that in your fake autopsy report, as a fictitious cause of death.
Exactly.
So, the actual cause of death was...
The trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop.
My word. What is it, Mrs. Auto?
Something about Dr. Sai's last statement. Playing on my mind, that's all.
Yes, it's on mine too. Dr. Scythe.
There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well.
Defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony.
Oh, which part?
What I want her to supplement her testimony with is... what she did to the victim. How you stabbed Mr. Asman in the chest, that part.
Fine, if that's what you want. There's really no need to point.
Prosecution will point. Very well. You will supplement your testimony now, witness. Man, I think I'm gonna get this wrong.
If you wish, my lord.
Stood over the victim's corpse. What? You stood over it. How could you stand over it? Let me press it.
Hold it!
So it was you who stabbed Asman with this?
Yes, far easier than the section I showed you. No precision required.
What a welcome change.
The victim died instantly from her snapped neck. All I did was carry out the instructions I've been given.
As unflinchingly as ever, no doubt. Imagine you didn't bat an eyelid when you drove the weapon into his body.
There was no need to bat my eyelids.
And what else did you do to twist the facts? Remind the court, why don't you?
You wish.
Okay, let me just press these.
Hold it!
Entire team in preventing the course of justice.
My team consists of the very best investigators there are. Demand loyalty from all Olympus. We operate on a code of chivalry of sorts.
You aid and abet a murder, commit perjury, and dare to talk of chivalry?
It was a matter of priorities.
What?
Nothing was more important than protecting the secret of the professor. My team did what was necessary without losing sight of the primary goal. Consider their conduct exemplary. Don't concede the point, Mr. Naruto. You mustn't let her win.
I need a lawyer.
I'll take that silence as a tacit acceptance. Now can we move on?
Not execution isn't.
Hold it!
But at what cost? Faith in Scotland Yard is going to suffer a terrible blow as a result of this. And your precious secret is out now anyway.
Yes, as you say. I take full responsibility.
Blow me down, Dr. Scythe. Surely there was some other way you could have protected the secret?
No, there really wasn't. Done my utmost, believe me. Anyways, I respect your determination.
Phew, I nearly froze under that cold stare as she said that.
I do believe she was being genuine though, Mr. Naruto.
So that's her story.
She's admitted everything and revealed her full involvement in the crime. I do wonder if there could really be much more to it.
Well, I don't know, but I just have a feeling.
Do you, Mr. Naruto? Truth is, I find it strange too. Those two are reacting to this in completely opposite ways, I mean.
Yes, exactly. For some reason, I feel sure that they're trying to hide something. Actually, let me go back and try the other one. I mean, with this correct,
Merely carrying out the engineer's instructions, in his words, fabricate some evidence to make it clear that hairbrain alone could have killed Aspen.
So you went without any of your team to where Aspen had fallen?
That's right, yes. I leaned down over the birdcage and opened it up. Then I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. After that, it was simply a matter of recording the stab wound as the cause of death in the autopsy report. The real cause of death being the fall, of course.
There's something here in the testimony.
No, if you think it would be appropriate, sure you could ask Dr. Scythe to change the supplementary testimony she gave before.
What should I ask her to do with the statement she added? Change it. I want to see what it is. Dr. Scythe, what you said before about the real cause of death, I believe that may be significant. So could you change your supplementary segment to explain that instead?
Very well. The actual cause of death was the neck trauma Aspen suffered from the 30-foot tall wall.
Hold it!
Quite sure of that. Was a result of the broken neck?
Yes, as a professional, that was more than apparent. You'd never know just by looking at the photograph of the victim, though, would you?
No, that's very true.
Obviously not. It's precisely what coroners are needed to determine the actual facts.
Yes, assuming they can be trusted. There's no point in calling her into question without evidence. Let's go back to the testimony.
Very well. I enlisted in help.
Damn it. 30-foot fall. I think it has to do with the screwdriver. Shouldn't he, if his cause of death was falling, shouldn't have been bleeding after she stabbed him, right? Dude, it's raining.
Objection!
Oh my god, I can't believe I got that. Got a nasty feeling. This inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. Oh, the music. What on earth is the matter, Counsel? Have you lost your tongue? Apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in the last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my lord and friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph. It shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection!
The court has already examined the photograph in death. There's nothing new we could learn from it.
Objection!
Yes, we have already considered it, that's true. But we now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. Or Somewhere in the photograph would you see the alleged inconsistency with the witness's statement.
Take that!
Stab wound? Closely at the bloodstain on the victim's chest. It clearly extends in a downward direction towards the man's feet. Why is that significant, Counsel? The victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion. That's entirely expected. Of course. No, that's not what happened. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in his testimony now. The point at which she stole Professor Hairbrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, and the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after a 30-foot drop. The victim had really been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position. The blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asp, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Scythe, the latest testimony was a total fabrication. Holy shit. I knew it. I was right. Now, I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain those facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe. Claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Trevor as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. Claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie, because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us is only one possible answer. That's the case. What is it, man? Counsel, you've clearly struck up a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Scythe's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in her testimony? The way she stabbed him? The answer is very simple if you consider a sequence of events. If when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards as it did, you can be sure the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would, which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
It's impossible. The man was dead, remember? No, that is the misapprehension. Oh shit. So she murdered him. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asmund didn't die in the fall. Probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. The victim was in fact alive at that point in time. Changes everything. Trepa sends his regards. Mr. Rhodey Asmund's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Hairbrain. Nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Antechamber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Her.
Ah.
Order, order, order. Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him?
Maybe?
You hoped that by admitting to be an accomplice in Mr. Trevor's scheme, the trial would end, before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder.
Oh, do shut up. So desperate now, you're making all this up, as if I would do something like that.
Objection!
Assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruto has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it.
What? What do you mean?
I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman?
Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. There's no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner might have done this.
Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene, concocted a fake report. But murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection!
No, when you questioned for what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind.
What?
What was it, Counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yes, you saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. Screwdriver? No, something we saw yesterday. Wait, what did I say? Yes, we saw it yesterday. We didn't see the screwdriver. The mask? No, it could be the mask or the scalpels. Scalpels. I don't know why scalpels would be it. Iron mask? It's the iron mask.
You've lost me.
Huh?
Sorry, Mr. Naruto, but why the iron mask?
Well, of all the things I saw yesterday, it left the greatest impression, so... I don't remember what I saw yesterday.
Clearly, you have no idea what you're talking about.
I think I must have said something wrong.
Forgive the interruption, Dr. Scythe. What my colleague meant to say was scalpels. Perhaps that's what makes a little more sense.
Oh, thanks, that's hot down. Of course. Did you say scalpels? It would appear the word has struck a chord, Doctor. Oh man, I can't believe Sasato helped me on that.
You, come on, out with it.
It was yesterday when you visited your laboratory. Look at this big, thick book here.
It appears to be a counting ledger. It's a record for the forensic investigation team spending, I think.
Oh, tons of scalpels.
Oh,
What is it?
it's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? What way?
You're buying 500 scalpels every month.
Oh, shit. That makes sense. Why are you buying 500 scalpels every month? 500 scalpels a month? First I wondered why on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asmund's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asmund was still a journalist, he wrote this article about Mr. Drebber. He may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information relating to Dr. Sai's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean? I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely on your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asmund in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever.
You'll never understand. None of you. What we've had to keep covered up all these long years.
Damn. Yeah, this is my favorite trial so far. Mainly because I had no idea what's going on the whole time. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out.
You decide not to. It's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, what have you done? Tell the court the truth about what happened.
10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now, however. This is surely the chance you've been waiting for. Sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really. It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about the wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. Can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. Made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it? You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmund's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Asmund, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see.
The dead victim that you saw rising from the grave in Longate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events were all true,
then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge just what had happened. It would have meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required you to abduct that particular wax model in order to extract your revenge at Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmund turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. and he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. But the coroner, who handled that bogus autopsy, being appointed head of the new forensic team. When alerted to the news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan.
What a horrid tale.
He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him, for revenge. Have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. This case was great. Your actions against those who'd ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis, but you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would forever be branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this, your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Lord Van Six, what of Dr. Sarth? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted. She's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Dribber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, it is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain.
Yes?
Seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt.
This whole experience has taught me a very great, painful lesson. This dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool.
Professor.
I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I.
No, Professor. That's not true.
What?
Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Dribber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way.
Lord Van Six.
To end the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone. To realize your dreams. That's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices.
Oh. Thank you, Baroque.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. It is the court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections. None from me, my lord.
Certainly not.
This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision. It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
What's that? He's done easy. It's all over.
I don't even know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize this place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant. Didn't even say not guilty. Not guilty.
Hey, fireworks.
Court is adjourned. It's over. That was some trial. "24th of October, 4:33 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendants, Antechamber." Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it?
It is. Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain.
Ooh, Mr. Naruhodo, Miss Sasato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough? Just glad it's all been cleared up, that you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation.
Right now,
If I had the research grant money.
I'd give the whole lot to you, every penny.
Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so...
Don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough.
No, we'll take the money. Oh dear, what can I do? Aha! How about this, as a memento? Paper about my hypothesis inside. Ooh, mementos are nice. Well, just as a memento then, thank you.
Good morning, Professor. What are you going to do now?
Oh my, yes, what am I going to do? My hypothesis and great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition whilst I'm here too, see if new inspiration hits me.
Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea.
I can't allow that. Lord Van Zeeks, what are you doing here? Barak! Sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey. You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution. Or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense. Did I just hear that right? I always knew you had my best interest at heart. Don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you.
What?
From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets.
But no! Hold on a minute, Barak. What about the great exhibition? This is the chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around.
No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea.
So sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barak.
Lord Van Zeeks. What's all this about? A necessary precaution.
Yes, I think I understand.
You do?
Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zeeks at his office some days ago. Asked how Mr. Natsume was doing.
Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time, thinking it was nice of him to ask.
The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well. Even though It's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor.
Ah, you mean Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their ends days or sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now.
But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent.
Oh, that's why she's going to France. True. Perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. Truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend.
Barrock.
Like the mustache Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Is he gonna die, like, tomorrow? Does your friend shaped package get any say in it?
Goodness, was this your intention all along, Lord Van Zeeks?
In court, where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless, and yet, sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being.
Ah, yes, all right. Well then, Mr. Naruto. Thank you so much for everything.
Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Don't die.
Best wishes, Professor Hairbrain. Don't die. Well, at least the dust is settled. You must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now.
He did. Now, my Nipponese friend. Oh, yes? I thought you'd gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? Want to talk with me? Let's go bowling. I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? The episode should end soon. Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. The enigma, Barak Van Zeeks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes then, in the next episode. Not really. 21st of October, 4:58 p.m. The Old Bailey Courtroom. Oh god. Why are we so far away from each other? So, are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice. Yes, I think so. I'm relieved at least that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from. That, when you keep doing that. Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. Imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. But now I think differently. Clearly you know our ways, so I would guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Can you tell me what happened, please? The professor. Was he Japanese? I thought I'd never hear that name at this courtroom again, to be honest.
He took your brother's life.
Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zeeks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the embellishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan.
Oh. it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father.
Of course, I do remember Dr. Mikatoba well.
I had no idea.
I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nipponese.
So, you've actually met my father?
He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. In the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. So sorry, Lord Van Zeeks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he wouldn't have wanted it in any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me, personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I finally found the killer's identity, the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all this time. Plain sight? Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions, which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up in war. What? A war between Britain and Japan?
But that would mean... Oh my, you mean to say the professor was...
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time.
Oh?
Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster. I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum.
Man, this is so weird.
So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind that the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
Is it his dad? Oh.
Father.
What? Father? Kazuma! My best friend, Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned.
But he's wearing it around his neck.
As he stood there before me,
Ryunosuke.
Hello again. My friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. It's been a very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Kazuma.
I owe you thanks, too, for taking good care of that in my absence.
Oh,
Want it?
Karuma. A great blade of the Asogi clan. Passed down through the generations. When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. A Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened,
Garderobe.
it was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword, and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared. With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
I've made it. At last. Father.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean, you knew all this time? I'm looking at it, but I still can't believe it. This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Damn. That was a nice cut.
Kazuma-sama.
Ryunosuke, we have much to talk about. But now is not the time. I'll be seeing you.
See you.
That's all Kazuma said. Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
So, he's the living afterimage of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes, Kazuma Sogi, my best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us. I had an inkling there was something there, some connection. But why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord Van Zieg's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia too, the man was apprehended, even executed. But his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you for meeting with me, as I asked. See ya. Peace.
"10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train for me. It was the first time I'd ever seen him.
Where's Sato-san? All this is tied up with painful memories for her too. She's never talked about this with me before though.
It took some time to adjust to having father around, but just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me to study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son, a boy 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father, so he was studying to become a defense lawyer. Wanted to help, so studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you've worked out, the young man's name was Kazuma Sogi. So you see, that's how he and I met.
For a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time. As if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter. But in many, it was the start of a new one.
Man, oh, I really like this trial. Mainly because I was really bad at it. But, yeah, we'll start the next case next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. See ya. Bye.